I'm back! I know, it's been forever since I shot a video. I mean, first semester of law school was exhausting. So much thrown at me all at once for me to be able to balance school and YouTube, so I had to take a break from YouTube videos. Hope you guys understand, but it's a new year, it's a new decade, it's a new semester, and I'm definitely going to try and be more consistent. So bear with me. Hope you guys are excited for what's to come. So in this video, as you can tell, I'm going to be doing a 1L fall semester recap. I didn't have enough time to put up videos during the semester, and I thought right now would be a good time before the spring semester begins in a couple days. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's dive right in. So I will start from the very beginning. Orientation week was exhausting. We were in school 8 to 5 from Monday to I believe Thursday, and we just had a lot going on. We had intro to legal reasoning, if I remember correctly, class, and we had to do the readings for that class before the next day, and there was just a lot to keep up with, and I was just like, oh my god, if this is what law school is about, then I'm in for a ride for sure. But once classes actually started, things kind of eased back and you kind of have more of a routine. So I had 4 classes. I had contracts, torts, property, and legal analysis, writing, and research. And all of those classes were fun in and of themselves, and were also exhausting. Definitely interesting things learned in each of those classes. But as the semester progressed, it became intense and a lot, especially when we had our memos due for our LEWR class. And yeah, I will just walk you through what my day was for when it came to preparing for classes was like. So Monday through Wednesday was the busiest of the week for me. I had 3 classes on Wednesday, and that was a lot because Tuesday night I had to prepare for all of that and do the readings and do the briefs for each class. And as you can tell, that could be a lot, especially given that it's the first semester. There was just a huge learning curve because there were times where I have to read a case at least 2-3 times to be able to understand what was going on, and then I would highlight and then I would write out my briefs. So I did the whole thing, and that would take me, let's say for a class, maybe a good 2 to 3 hours, and that was not fun. It's like I just kept reading and reading, and that was my routine for a lot of the semester until the memo writing came up, and I had to balance doing all those readings for classes but also writing my memo, working on my drafts, getting feedback and making those changes as needed, and going to the writing center. So just a lot of things to be balancing all at once. But yeah, it was definitely an experience for sure. Will I do it again? Yes, because I mean, this is what I signed up for. But it was a lot, because despite how much information people give you before you begin law school, and they tell you how exhausting it's going to be, how overwhelming and intense and all-consuming your first semester is going to be, you never really understand it fully until you're in the trenches and you're having to show up to class every day prepared, ready to be cold called if that does happen, and just be on alert all the time. And I feel like that was a really huge learning curve for me, to just have to be alert, because having not been in school for 2 years, it was kind of an ease back into it. I had to gradually ease myself back into the whole school routine, but it definitely was not something too drastic. So when it came to briefing cases, as I mentioned a little bit ago, it was mostly just doing the readings, and I started off the semester briefing with the whole method of you write down your facts and the rule, the issue, all of that, the holding and the rest of it. So that went well. Like I continued that throughout the semester, and I know a couple people I know a couple people who didn't stick to that, and that's really fine. You end up learning what works for you, and things that you feel waste your time, you cut that off. But I felt like it was something that was helpful for me in remembering the cases, because when it came time for finals, and I know like you don't, for in our cases we didn't really need a lot of the cases when it came to final exam, but just having that idea of like, oh, I do remember this case, I remember what it talked about, and I remember the rule and the holding out of it, and I thought that was helpful because I didn't have to go back and reread the entire cases again. I also did a lot of like in the beginning I did a lot of highlighting, and as the semester progressed I found myself not highlighting as much, because when I did read, I used to color code my my case book, so I would have a different color for the facts, a different color for the issue, the holding, the rule, you know. But I felt that that was wasting my time, and I was just focused a lot more on highlighting than actually grasping the information. So that kind of whittled down a bit, and I did more book briefing. So that involved me writing in the margins of the casebook, and just maybe quick notes like, oh, this is a fact, this is the issue, this is the holding, you know, all of that. And if I had extra, like, additional words that I needed to write down, it probably won't be more than 5 words. And I thought that was helpful because when I got to class, it was just more easy for me to recall what I had read, and easy to pinpoint exactly what part in the case that where I could find that information. And honestly, totally take this with a grain of salt, but preparing for classes is mostly just to prepare for cold calling. So preparing for classes entails just doing the readings and briefing your cases, and I feel like I focused a lot of my time on that. And when it comes to finals, that doesn't really help much, because the final exam, you're talking about, you're given a fact pattern, and you're basically required to find the issue in that fact pattern and analyze it. And just knowing the cases and knowing what was talked about in class during the semester isn't that much helpful. So moving forward, I would definitely try to maximize my time when it comes to preparing for classes. So just briefing as usual, because I feel like it's helpful in some form, but not pay so much attention on that, and do a lot more practice questions as the semester goes by, because practice definitely helps, and I didn't do as much practice questions, or enough practice questions, as probably would have been beneficial to me as I should have. I also would be working on my outline as the semester progresses, because it definitely is exhausting to leave everything towards the end, and at the end of the day you find that you're trying to read over your outline more than doing practice work, which would be beneficial in the long run. And so definitely work on my outline as the semester goes on, practice questions, seek out help as early as possible, because, you know, clarity is very important, and it will definitely pay at the end of the day. So those are kind of a bit of my takeaways from my 1L semester. One thing I want to throw in there is that it was definitely a struggle to balance preparing for classes as usual and preparing for finals. And I think that is something that I will try my best this semester to find a balance. And as I said, like, working on my outline earlier and just doing more practice questions earlier on in the semester would definitely be good steps to take, because I know a month to the exam I was kind of struggling to find that balance, because I still wanted to be prepared for class, because cold calling is not fun when you're not prepared. I know cold calling is a part of law school. As a pre-law student, that could be daunting, and honestly I just want to say that it is not, as long as you're prepared. I mean, I did have my fair share of a terrible cold call, to be honest. You will survive. I am surviving. But I know in that moment you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I just messed that up, but you'll be fine. Honestly, it's just a matter of making class discussions more interesting. But also I just want to throw this in there, like, the semester does fly by fast, so honestly enjoy every bit of it, because this is the hardest part of it, as people say, and once you make it through, like, you're going to be fine. And definitely there will be things that will come up, but don't let that bother you. I know, like, for me, I had my laptop break right before finals week, and I wasn't as flustered as I probably should have been because I was exhausted. Honestly, I could not even cry even if I wanted to. I was just drained and I just wanted to be over with. But honestly, just keep perspective in sight, because it is a short 3 years, one semester down, and I have only 5 semesters left. And just enjoy the moment. Everybody in your 1L class is all going through the same thing, and it's just nice to have a group of people who you could lean on, and like a great support system, because when it gets rough, like, you need to be able to vent to someone who definitely knows where you're coming from and does understand your struggle. So it's definitely great to have a support group, and definitely do things outside of law school that would be beneficial to your mental health. Like, I know for me, during the beginning of the semester, when I did have a little more time, I tried to go to trivia nights with a group of friends, and that was fun. And when the semester got right into the thick of it, I didn't have the time for it, and so it was just mostly focused in schoolwork. And I mean, like, at the end of the day, you're there for school, but also be conscious of the fact that your mental health is also important. And in that sense, like, I tried to, like, include workouts in my daily routine at some point as well. That fell off because I just got overwhelmed with the amount of schoolwork I had to do, and unfortunately the weather got cold, and I, for one, hate the cold, so that definitely got left off the train. But this semester I plan to be more time conscious, and definitely make good use of my time, do things outside of law school that would be fun, and definitely things that I enjoy, like this. And I would definitely make the time to put out more content and do more stuff for my mental health, work out more. Good for the body, for your brain, because you need a break to really digest what you studied. So I hope this is helpful to you guys to get a glimpse of what my fall semester has been like. I know it might be a little bit all over the place, and yes, that just is an idea of how all over the place my semester was. But hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back with more content. See you guys in my next video. Bye!